about that to make it hurt.
Ladies and gentlemen, live and in color, I'm here. I know it's strange. I know it's strange. I know it is. I know it is. This is not my regular time, but it's a special edition show tonight because I will not be with you guys on tomorrow night for sure. So I have to go ahead and get it in now. I would not be with you guys in the morning with West Coast. So I figured I better go ahead and do a live version. I could have went ahead and just did a upload, but that wouldn't be fair because my show is built off interaction. And I don't think that that would have, I could have pushed it on through, but it's so much fun when we all together live and in color. So on that note, even though we're here at a strange time, a Sunday evening, very late, and most of you are getting ready for work tomorrow, nevertheless, some of you have already tuned in. Welcome one more time then to the Big Time Show. This ain't even prime time. This is late night edition. I'm on with Johnny Carson. Well, Johnny Carson stopped doing a long time ago. I'm with who the late night people? David Letterman retired. So who is it? Jay Leno retired. Yeah, I don't know. I used to be somewhat asleep by now, so y'all forgive me. I'm just whoever on late night. That's who I'm with tonight. So I appreciate you guys coming in. Man, it's a whole lot of y'all in here too. What's going on? Do I need to change my time? I do. Good God. Hello. What's going on? What's going on? Y'all just, y'all got it lit up in here. Wow. What's going on tonight? Welcome to those that are on Big Time Show YouTube. Those that are on the Big Time Show Facebook page. Those of you that are on the Twitter and whoever may join in on Twitch. I appreciate you on tonight for showing up. Let me see let me speak to everybody. Oh Lord. As usual. First one in the building is the one, of course, that don't watch none of his team stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The wannabe star of the wannabe star of the Big Time Show, the wannabe Eastside Harold. If I didn't have my lines open, he'd really be trying to be somebody, but he in the wrong place at the wrong time. Eastside Harold here. JB, what's going on? Let me see who else is here. Scott Ricks, how you doing, sir? T Smooth, what's up? Step Bro Nikki, Okay, we got some Giants fans in here. All right. Appreciate you, Scott Ricks. Appreciate everybody's popping in. Thank you. Let's go ahead and talk. I don't plan on being here too long with you guys because it's late. Some of you got to go to work. Most of you already seen my title for tonight. And I'm wearing his jersey now because we got to go ahead and get ready to find out if somebody's ready to take it to the next level. And in my view, I don't know if he is or not. But I will say this. He ought to be provoked. He ought to be a little charged up. Talking about Micah Parsons. Well, let me stop and pause real quick. Listen, if you want to contribute to the podcast, contribute to the show, you're on Facebook, you can hit those stars. And of course, if you are on the YouTube page, you can go to Super Chats, which I'm about to enable right now. Thank you. You already should be there, but if not, you can do that. Let me go to it real quick while I'm doing that. I hope you guys have had a great Sunday. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. While I'm getting my stuff together here, go ahead and hit the like button or the heart button. Do that for me. I would appreciate that. Everybody smash it at least about 20 times or so, if you can. That won't cost you absolutely nothing. It will cost you absolutely nothing. Let's talk. Micah Parsons ought to be ready to go. I sat here and thought about it yesterday, and when you one of those guys, one of the characteristics of one of these guys is that you don't want to talk too much to them because that only carries them to another level. There's so many athletes whose names I could call out from different sports that you knew that if you talked too much about them, if you talked too much to them while the game was going on, you were going to be in trouble because you would take them to another level. Certainly this offseason, Micah Parsons has been talked about in so many different ways by the fan base, by analysts, if you want to say that, by media, that to me, he ought to be a little angry. He ought to have an attitude of he ought to be maybe having a sense of something to prove. I mean, we all know what kind of player that he is. He is a guy that hey, I'm seeing a lot of people I ain't never seen before in here. Hello to all of you. This your first time coming in. I see college football statements. It's not a college football show. But I watch it, yeah, but I'm a Michigan fan, so that's all I can tell you. So of course there's people watching for some of those guys will be in the league playing next year. So, of course there is, but I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Custody, defenders, protege. Don't know who you're talking about specifically, but Micah ought to be ready to go. And I think that he will be ready to go. I really do. I thought about it yesterday, and he's already, when he gets a little agitated, he usually goes off a little bit. And I think that's going to him. And he go off really just naturally by his talent and ability. But when he's charged up and ready to play, it's been proven that he can go to another level. Problem is, it shouldn't take that to get him to go to another level. But I think that he's already been fueled. Oh, I see custody. Everybody is then. Everybody. Everybody. Everybody is available to be watched custody. You know, everybody. So it's kind of hard to predict, for what you're saying. I think I can kind of read what you're saying. It's kind of hard to predict that. You know, to watch out for, because you don't know what we gonna have at the end of the year, or at the beginning of off-season program. We don't know who's gonna be signed, who's not gonna be signed, who's gonna leave. I mean, we don't know. So wherever somebody leaves, I mean, there's a hole there. So, and the Cowboys, of course, love the draft, so that's where they like to build. So that might be the place to answer your question. And Micah is the one that I believe is going to be a little crazy this year in a good way. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I come to that thing. I believe the reason why is because, number one, he got more doubters this year than he had in all his career. And keep in mind, he's coming off another All-Pro season. But there's a sense of doubt when it comes to him. There's a conversation about him that nobody's, is nothing really positive. The things that you heard about him this year is nothing but negative. We ain't heard nothing about predictions about what he gonna do. There's been nothing really said. Period. And I think that's going to fire him up even more. I think that's the starting point. I really do. And he ought to be charged up. He ought to be. He ought to be. He ought to be literally ticked off. And usually that means something. Now, let me tell y'all this. I kind of hinted toward this the last part of the show yesterday. And really, I wanted to go ahead and open it up. I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but like I said, I won't be able to do the show live tomorrow. So this is my chance to talk to you guys live. I mean, I could have done the video, but that wouldn't have been no fun to me, at least. I would have saw all your comments and stuff, but y'all know me, I like to do it live. So let me just put this out. And of course, this is opinionated. There's no factual type thing. Let me tell you some of the stuff that I don't like about Micah Parsons, even though I know he's a great football player. Let me say this about Micah. I don't like what I'm seeing, but this is me. You may like it, but I'll tell you, I don't like it, and maybe it's because I'm cut from a different cloth as far as being a little older and was raised in a time where people didn't shake hands with their enemies per se on the field. The day is different. These guys go to dinner together. They text each other nonstop. They all that type of stuff. It's just a different day. I don't like Micah Parsons and all this Boy Scout, kumbaya, shake hands, hug, exchange email addresses, and exchange phone numbers, and FaceTiming, and all with his dang enemies. I don't like it. I'm sorry. Every time I look up now, I see Micah Parsons with CJ Stroud. I'm sorry. I don't I know it's a different day before y'all jump on. I know it's a different day. I understand it. I just come from a different time. And maybe I have to evolve. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I gotta evolve. But I ain't evolved yet. And I don't think I ever will. I'm too look. I come from the Larry Bird hating Magic Johnson and Magic Johnson hating Larry Bird days. I come from the days of where the Lakers hated the Celtics. I hate it. I come from the days where the Dallas Cowboys hated the Pittsburgh Steelers. They definitely hated everybody in the division. Hated. Key word, hated. And it was no mistake. I come from that time. I come from that time I come from that time where Ray Lewis did not shake hands with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't shake hands with the Baltimore Ravens. It was just a natural rivalry. I come from the days of when the University of Miami played the Florida State Seminoles. It was a war. Miami playing Notre Dame. You know, I come from the real days. Michigan still don't like Ohio State. It don't like them. They don't like us. We don't like them. That's where I come from. The Yankees against the Red Sox. See, I said that. You felt it right then. I come from that. I come from that time, man, when Michael Jordan hated everybody. Y'all understand me? That's where I come from. So it's hard for me to see these guys buddy up and everything. I mean, I done seen Micah Parsons and CJ Stroud take trips together to Japan. I saw just last week Micah Parsons, CJ Stroud, and Tom Brady's all white party. I mean, I seen CJ Stroud and Micah Parsons on somebody else's podcast show. I seen CJ Stroud on Micah Parsons' part. I mean, good Lord of mercy. Jeez. I can't. I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I see Micah Parsons on his podcast, singing praises to everybody because, that's what he got to do. For those that don't know, Micah Parsons is the president of Bleacher Report. I mean, that don't necessarily mean he had to have a show, but he does. And he does his show well, but it's just the flowers that are given to everybody. Not that, he had Jordan Love on the show right after the Packers beat our brains out in the playoffs. And Jordan Love just sitting up there just laughing and giggling. We got y'all. We know what y'all were gonna do and all that. I mean, you can't say. You can't, what can you say? You bringing in the people that beat your brains out. And it doesn't take away from his ability on the field. But in my opinion, and what it does, it takes away from that edge and that mentality that you're supposed to have when you're one of these great, great players. That's what I'm saying. And I believe that Micah Parsons has the ability of a great player who will one day have a gold jacket on his, gold jacket saying that he's a Hall of Fame player. I believe that's going to happen. But he ain't got the mentality, especially at the position that he plays. He don't have the mentality of a Lawrence Taylor. Like that's the one everybody want to compare him to. He doesn't have that mentality. A lot of y'all don't even probably born when Lawrence was playing. Of course, I'm a little older. I remember that. There was no friends. I mean, I'm sorry. He don't have, and I ain't got to go that far back. When I started thinking about uh when I started thinking about the Kansas City Chiefs, Chris Jones, for instance. Chris Jones. What kind of mentality he got? See what I'm saying? You got the ability, but you got the edge to go with it. You got the attitude that goes with this incredible ability that they may have. Huh? I have a problem. I'm sorry, and I don't see it. As great as he is, I don't see it. I don't see the look. Ray Lewis. See, when I said that, there was a mentality that went with Ray Lewis. As great as he was, that edge, that killer instinct, it wasn't hard to not see. You can see it on Ray. You see what I'm saying? You can see it. I don't see that. He's still great. I don't want to take it from you. He's still great. He's still great. You know what I'm saying? He is still great. But the edge is what I'm talking about. That edge, man, will carry you to a level that is almost like you playing outside of your body almost. I done seen it too many years with too many great players. I seen the ability, but it makes a difference when you got that edge. And I'm sorry, maybe y'all see it differently, and I'm not arguing with you, because we can look at one player. I can line 10 of you guys up, and I say, let's talk about this player. I have 10 different interpretations. So I'm not saying my interpretation is right and yours is wrong. But I'm also saying your interpretation is not right and mine is wrong. I'm not saying that. What I am saying from my perspective, man, look, I'm not seeing that mentality. Coach Marv, I saw you comment. I already saw it. I saw it. I'm not seeing what I need to see. But I believe that the media, I believe that the national media, I believe that he have heard other podcasters as well. I believe that he has heard some of the stuff that's been said. And I'm not talking about the haters. I'm talking about the podcast people, personalities from Dallas Cowboy land. That it's just not the haters. The haters just gonna say anything anyway. We ain't worried about that. All you gotta do is look in the chat right now and you'll see, folks that ain't Cowboy fan, they just yapping their mouth. But what about the cowboy, the ones that swerving down, that they have a star almost embedded in their heart? Those type, like me, that I'm not questioning his ability, but I am getting a little irritated by all this buddy, shake, hold hands, traveling with enemies. And y'all say, well, they not the enemies. Look, if they on your schedule, I don't want to. Look, I don't need you getting on a flight going to Japan with CJ Stroud. I'm sorry, I know. Some of y'all say it may not be a problem. Okay, to me it is. To me, I'm serious, man. It really irritates me. It does. But I believe that he is about ready. I believe he's about ready to go to the next level. However, now let's get factual. he can go to the next level if he's positioned right. It seems to be a mystery and a question mark through everybody that has been over him as far as coaches goes. I realize he's a unique player, but somebody ain't hit the right button completely yet. They don't know what he want to be. They don't know if they want him to just be edge. They don't know if that primarily so far that's the census that I'm getting, that they want him to be edge, and I understand that the edge rushers make the money. See what I'm saying? The edge rushers make more money than the linebackers. The edge rushers make more money than safeties. The edge rushers make more money. Well, it depends on if you got, unless you got one of those guys at defensive tackle, like a Chris Jones, like an Aaron Donald, that type of dude. If you got that, then the edge rusher don't make as much as those guys. Well, they make about the same. They get paid like highest paid. You're not getting that primarily from a linebacker position, but as I've said, and then of course the one that give him credit, the one that been riding that train longer than anybody has been the person that's in this chat. At least I think he's still, and that's Coach Mara, who has already said, and I've said it as well, that Micah Parsons is so unique that you can line him up everywhere. And it ain't necessarily gotta be shown up in sacks, but it can be shown up in just about every stat from a defensive perspective. An offensive coordinator should have to be guessing on every single play where Micah Parsons is gonna line up. Micah Parsons is the type of guy, he's very unique, because ain't nobody else really can't say this about their players. I mean, seriously, we got to really think about this thing. I'm trying to think now, who can do, and there's some great players in the league defensively, who can do what Micah Parsons can do? And keep that in mind, I'm going well beyond pass rushers. I'm talking about a guy that can line up and dominate even from the linebacker position. Who else can do that? I'm talking about if you put him on the line, he can dominate. Put him back and put him back as a linebacker, he can dominate. I mean, you can use him like a queen on a chessboard. And this guy can do it all. I need everybody in here. Real quick, let me put this in. Everybody in here, if you don't mind, while y'all in there arguing with Eastside, y'all making him a star. Y'all killing me with that. But y'all argue with him. Go ahead. But while you're arguing, go ahead and hit that like button. Everybody hit that like button. Everybody hit that like button for you, boy. Everybody hit that like button for me. Hit that heart button if you're on YouTube. Hit that heart button if you don't mind. Help your boy out on tonight. I'm trying to figure out who can do what Micah Parsons does. Okay, thank you, Common Sense. That's a good one. That's exactly where I was about to go. And thank you, Common Sense, because that's really the only name I can think about. A young Von Miller. But really, and I had to go back. Common Sense. I don't really think they line Vaughn up as a linebacker though, because really that would really, take away from his superpower. What I'm saying is Von Miller's superpower was on the edge, not necessarily linebacker because he was too small. Micah Parsons' superpower is on the edge and that linebacker. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember I hate to say this, but I do remember one, and I'm old enough to remember one that was like that, and that was great Lawrence Taylor. That's what I remember him. And he was running the 3-4, and Lawrence would line up on the edge, and Lawrence would also line up as a linebacker and was equally as dominant from both positions. That's my mind ain't my man. I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to go back. Uh, I remember Derek Thomas was like that, but Derek was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Derek was like an edge guy. You know what I'm saying? This is what Coach Marv has been running the check on. See, I'm trying to figure out. See, it's one thing for me to say he need to do this and need to do that, but on the football field, it's the defensive coordinator's position, Mike Zimmer's his position, to put him in the best place where he can go ahead and clown. All right. Dan Quinn did a good job, but he primarily left him on the edge. You'll see him blitz up the middle and all that type of stuff, but I ain't talking about just blitzing. I'm talking about impact. You know, Sean Lee was a dominant linebacker when he was healthy, and everything didn't have to be sacks. I'm talking about Sean Lee hitting that gap, hitting the ball carrier for a 1 yard gain or a 2 or 3 yard loss. Those type of plays I'm talking about. I'm saying Micah can do that. Coach Marv, this is what the train that I know he's been saying for years, last couple of years. He said he could be the first 130 tackles, 17 sacks, 3 interceptions, 5 forced fumble player ever. He is committed to being that guy. I'm saying, see, the interception part primarily will happen if he is at linebacker. It ain't gonna happen on the edge. See what I'm saying? See, when you look at that, what Coach Marvin said, and the reason why I highlighted that, because he's one of the only ones that I've said it, and I kind of joined in with him, about a year and a half ago. But Coach Marv is the one that's been saying this for the last 2 years, I know. But what coordinator can get all of that out of him? That's the part where I'm trying to say, if this is how he can go to the next level. See, long as you got him on the edge, he ain't gonna do what he been doing. He gonna give you about 14 to 16 sacks, which is great, of course. That'll get you be an all-pro. I mean, it's great. It'll get you a lot of pressures, but what it will also do, and from a negative standpoint, because Michael can't put on a whole lot of weight. He ain't naturally, he's a big guy, but he's not big enough to be handling offensive tackles and all that type of stuff. What's going to happen is he's going to get beat up in the run game, like we've been seeing in the last couple of years, sending double teams, sometimes triple teams with a chip from a running back and all that type of stuff. It gets swallowed up. He will. But if you put him in linebacker sometime where he can go chase people down with that speed that he has, plus he's big enough to fill in holes, make tackles, stop, plug up gaps so where his teammates can come and bust somebody dead in their mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what makes you great. This is what makes you go to another level. And so what I'm wondering is, because we haven't seen him on the edge, we already know what he can do there. He gonna get you double-digit sacks. He gonna be an all-pro player. We already know this. We didn't seen it. But what he ain't making the big impact is in tackles. This dude with this ability is supposed to be getting exactly what Coach Marv just said. There is no reason why, and I'm gonna go and put it out there. There is no reason why this dude should not at least have 100 tackles every year if you put him in the right place. He too good. He too explosive. He got too much speed. He does. See, what I said earlier is just something that's knick-knack, paddywhack, what I was talking about. Shaking hands with CJ and shaking hands with Jordan Love and laughing and giggling all in their face and all that type of stuff. See, that ain't, that's knick-knack, paddywhack stuff. You still can produce even though you're doing that, and he does that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using if this was the game of chess, then Micah Parsons is your queen on the chessboard. What does a queen do for everybody that plays chess? The queen moves everywhere. Queen moves everywhere. It can line up on one side of the board, then it can go to the other side. Line them in the middle, line up, go backwards, do everything. When are we going to find the coordinator that makes Micah Parsons the queen on a chessboard? We ain't quite found it. Michael's been productive. I'm not saying that at all. Like I said, I'm not saying it at all. Michael has been super productive. He's on a Hall of Fame type trajectory already. But my question is, who is going to carry him to the next level? See what I'm saying? Man, thank you, George. I'm just not saying this. And I was looking for guys. But see, we got to go back to find guys like, thank you, George Whitlock. I believe that was your last name. Let me put you up just to make sure. George Wichard, I'm sorry. George Wichard, and he gave me the names, but look at the time frame. Lawrence Taylor did what I'm talking about. Derek, I don't remember Derek lining up as linebacker though, George. Now, Pat Swilling, yes, sir. Pat Swilling did this. Pat Swilling, and I totally forgot about him. Brother, you just hit a name. Pat Swilling lined up as linebacker and on the edge and was dominant. All world. No question about it. All world. You're right, George. Forgot about him. I'm sorry, I'm just not moving around. Oh, wow. Coach Marv said, wow. Oh, boy. See, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all see what Coach Marv just said right there? Y'all see what Coach Marv just said a few minutes ago? Common sense, you right. I see what you're saying. You say you disagree, and that's cool. You say Micah has to want that and to embrace it. Well, then that, to me, like I said earlier, common sense, and I understand what you're saying. I believe then that we're talking something past football now. I think we're getting into the position. See, Micah can't demand the type of contract, in another year or so. He can't demand that just by being a linebacker. And he don't believe, the history of the NFL shows there ain't been too many guys that can do what I'm saying to do, and there ain't no standard. The guys that you're talking about, they got paid. I'm talking about, look at the time frame and what they got paid back then. You see what I'm saying? Lawrence Taylor was, good Lord, incredible. Swilling was like that, but there ain't no standard for it as far as contracts, because it was a different time and different money back then. There hadn't been a guy like this that's a standard, but can being a slash linebacker and a slash pass rusher on the edge get you to have the highest non-contract other than the quarterback, being the highest paid other than the quarterback? Can that do it? In Michael's mind, it's just me thinking that I believe that he feels like the pass rushers can make that type of money. Not a slash type player. But Coach Marv just said something here that is a problem. That what he just put down is a problem. And that's why I'm saying he got a chance this year to go off. He has a chance to go off. He didn't got talked about. See comments just like this, what Coach Marv just said, and most of you agree with that he's trying, instead of focusing on football, he worried about getting $10 million, 10 million followers on his podcast, which generates a lot of money. I understand that, but if you ain't the man on the football field, then you can have 10 million followers, but you just running your mouth. Draymond Green, for instance, is not the best player on the Golden State Warriors. He's never been. Draymond Green knows that he can run his mouth pretty good, and Draymond knows that folks gonna follow him because of his nonchalant and his straight up, style of talking. But he knows he can't be better than Steph Curry. He knows that. So he needs to concentrate on his podcast. Micah Parsons should be different. Your ability on the football field is better than you running your mouth. And Micah Parsons can run his mouth quite well. Very outgoing, very entertaining. He's like that. But make no mistake about it. His ability on the football field is better than him running his mouth. Draymond Green, his mouth is better than his play. And I'm not knocking Draymond. Draymond gonna be a Hall of Fame basketball player. In other words, what Coach Marv's saying, and I see what you're saying, common sense. Well, in other words, priorities. Which is another thing that can make you great. This dude, man, has the chance to be known when it's all over, if he can stay healthy. This dude has a chance to be talked about in the upper echelon, if you let me say that, of the greatest defensive players ever to play. He has that type of ability. But where truly are his priorities? I'm not questioning his effort on the field. I'm not questioning him not wanting to be the best. I know he does, but there's another gear that you got to go to in the level. See, it's not physical. It's not physical for him. He has all the physical abilities. I mean, the physical traits, that's already been proven. I'm talking about a total different level. Then that happens between your ears. That's what I'm talking about. He has the ability, man, from a defensive position to dominate a game from the defensive side of the football. This dude can actually, the term game wrecker. This is what he is. This is what he can really become. I ain't talking about a part-time game wrecker too. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a true game-wrecking machine. This is what this guy can do. But that part is gonna come from up here in the brain. I ain't talking about your mouth saying, I want to dominate. No, you do it. You do it. You do it. And I see what you're saying, common sense. But let me say, this dude got the ability, that culture, his ability goes beyond culture. This dude, everybody wanted to look. The Lord spent a few extra moments on him. Let me just say that. The Lord gave him things that not too many guys, in the history of this league has or had. It ain't been but a couple of them. It ain't been but a couple of them. The ability to play on two levels of the defense. And some might even say, hey, my God. Let me see. Simon Sixers say, explain that to me big time, please. I'm going to have to go back. Culture reflects leadership. Maybe that's what you were talking about, and that's the Joneses. True. That is true. But every now and then, you will run into a player that the culture don't mean nothing because of their ability. Let me just give you a perfect example. Whatever your culture was, Larry Allen didn't match up to it. Larry Allen, look, it didn't make no difference what your culture was. Larry Allen was going to dominate. See what I'm saying? Those type of guys. I'm saying Micah Parsons has that type of ability. I don't care what your culture was. Larry Allen would have been your all-pro guard if you only won 6 games. He would have had this, kind of like that dude from Cleveland. The dude that retired a couple years ago, the lineman, Joe Thomas. Cleveland ain't never won nothing. But Joe Thomas was a first-team all-pro for almost about 10 years straight. Why? Because his ability, you may have looked everywhere else and said, we're suffering in this spot. We're suffering in that spot. Well, you didn't say that about Joe Thomas. That left tackle position was on lock. You didn't have to worry about that one because his talent overrode everything else that may be wrong. Larry Allen for us, the great late Larry Allen. That it didn't make no difference about your culture. I'm saying Micah Parsons has that type of talent. But he don't have that type of talent up here. See what I'm saying? It got to match to be what I'm talking about. It got to match up here, and then it got to match your ability. And that's the part that I ain't seeing on a consistent basis, at least. See, I ain't have to worry about that with Larry Allen. Larry Allen gonna beat your brains out every play. It's just that simple. Ray Lewis was not the fastest guy. He was not the fastest linebacker. Ray Lewis was not. But everybody knows. It's a reason why they say he's the greatest linebacker of all time. It wasn't because he had Derrick Thomas speed. It wasn't because he was fast as Lawrence Taylor. It's that mentality that he had. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That mentality that he had and the ability made his ability even go higher. You know, every now and then you'll have these freaks of nature. You'll have the Deion Sanders. You know, guys who just, what can we do? You see what I'm saying? Those type of guys. I'm saying Micah Parsons, for the position he plays, is one of those type of dudes. He is. The Aaron Donald, those type of guys, man. Micah Parsons has been blessed with that type of persona. But let me tell you, vacationing with CJ Stroud and vacationing and on his podcast, bringing the enemies in and they making a laughing stock out of you. It was hard for me to watch him sit there with Jordan Love a few weeks after Green Bay beat our brains out. It was hard for me kind of watch that. And just seeing he wouldn't even got an invite from me. And I still be ticked off. He would never get an invite. Shaking hands with. Come on, man. I just can't do it. So I'm talking about with him, I'm not talking about his physical. I'm talking about the mentality that goes with simply being the best. That's where, if we want to work on something this year, see, the speed you ain't got to worry about. You see what I'm saying? You ain't gotta worry about him getting around left tackles and making some sacks. You ain't gotta worry about that. He gonna do that. What I'm talking about is, y'all forgive me for just saying this one name, but I can't help it because he was my favorite football player. The Ray Lewis mentality. Huh? I gotta have that's what take me to the next level. Now, from a football perspective or a coaching perspective, then what will help Micah to be that is if he is put into the right positions on the field. And that's where you need to use them like a queen on the chessboard. And I hope that Mike Zimmer can do this, because if you do this, his natural talent will take over. And I'm serious. He will take over. Seriously. The natural talent, he's just that good. His natural talent will take over if you put him in the right spots. That's Drew, that's a great question. I like that. And it's a fair question. Matter of fact, y'all see Drew's question. Y'all come on, let's answer that question there. What is his position? And if does he have a position, or is he just an athlete? Everybody answer that. Is he just because when you're in college, they will recruit you, and they don't really have a place to put you, so they'll just put athlete by your name. Matter of fact, a whole lot of you guys are gonna have the college football game coming out in about another week or so. EA Sports College Football, everybody waiting on it. You'll notice when you get to that dynasty thing, they'll put athlete, ATH. They won't have a position for them when you start to recruit people, and then once you get them, you'll put them in a position where you want them. He's an athlete. Is that what Micah Parsons is? I like that. JV boy, that's beautiful. JV boy, B-boy says his position is a weapon. I like that. Al Logan say he's the wild card. I like that. So I see some of you saying he's an edge. I believe he's more than an edge. We just ain't seen it because I don't think they put him in the right spot. Dan Quinn was dedicated to making him an edge guy. You'll see him line up over the linebacker every now and then, and for blitzing purposes. You'll see that. But have you seen him just play linebacker? Which is what I think he can do, and I believe he can do it at a very high level. Yeah, well, because he beat up, Drew. Y'all say he's an edge rusher, and you're right. Drew says that, and Drew is absolutely right. He's gassed by the end of the season, he says. Which is right there. He's gassed by the end of the season. And that's because he's been double and triple team, and he ain't as big. So he gets swallowed up. And beat up. And beat up too. So it's gonna be interesting to me to kind of wrap this thing up. It's gonna be interesting to me. The level that I'm talking about is gonna require him to play. I see you, Swain. Boy, I tell you, y'all guys. I didn't mean it, but y'all, I caught that one. Boy, you funny. The level that I'm talking about is going to require him to be playing linebacker as well as pass rusher. Seriously. And let me say this. See, let me give you my thing here. And I'm not talking permanently, but at some point, I want to see this for Zimmer. Give me, if you're running two linebackers, this already depends on the formation, and it really depends on the formation of the offensive set. All right. But Zimmer is known for a 4-3. 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. That's what he's known for. All right. Formations will change that. You got everybody want to run the 3 wide receiver set, 4 wide receivers that, they'll eliminate the linebackers, 3 linebackers. Okay. So sometimes you got to run maybe a 2-5, 5-2, I'm sorry. 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers. Well, just entertain me this. I would love to see Kendricks, Micah Parsons as my linebackers, Sam Williams as my edge, D-Law on the other side, or some of y'all already done fell in love with Nealon, even though he ain't played a down, but you figure he might do something this year. Okay, that's fine. If he is that dude, then I even take Nealon. But you got to put Micah there, because see, that's where the interception's gonna come. If you run it, he gonna hawk it down. If he start hitting the running back, look out. I want to see that. And let's just say, for instance, we are running a 4-3. The package is there. Let me show you something that's formidable. Give me Overshown. It either the wheel or the strong linebacker. It don't make no difference, because he's explosive. Give me Kendricks in the middle. Give me Parsons as the other linebacker. That's a problem. That's a problem. Coach Breedlove in the building. And I got coaches in here. I got Coach Marvin. I got Coach Breedlove in here. 2 guys that I will listen to. And Coach Breedlove is absolutely 1,000% right. He says 3-4 would suit him better, obviously. But we don't have that dominant nose guard. And that's the truth. If you're going to run a 3-4, you better have that dude in the middle that's going to take up at least 2 good people to block him. And that defensive tackle got to hold his ground. You don't have it. So I think that the 3-4 would definitely be out of the picture. That would give me what I want, because Michael will be the outside linebacker. That would give me what I want, but we don't have that guy in the middle. But since we're running a 4-3, then you got to let Sam Williams, who I believe gonna have a breakout season. You gotta let Sam Williams, because he's just as fast. If Nealon turns out to be what everybody think he has, that's gonna be a problem. See what I'm saying? This is what we need. I'm trying to get Micah in the best position where he can be just completely on another different level. That's what I'm saying. I just don't want Micah just solely line up as an edge rusher. I've seen that. He's productive, yes, but he gets beat up. He gets beat up too easily. He double teams, and he's not big enough, number one, to handle double teams. He's not going to be more than not a guy that's going to win a whole lot of double teams when you're talking about a guard and a tackle coming to see him, or a tackle and a tight end or a tackle and a running back to chip them and all that type of stuff. We've already seen that. We've already seen that. And he still produces. I want to see him line up at the linebacker position. That's what I want to see. And I believe that will take him to a different level. Naturally. Lord have mercy. If he get an attitude with it for real, instead of shaking hands with everybody, I'm scared. I'm so he just got to show me. He done shook hands so much with CJ Stroud this year. Yeah, I'm almost scared that if he had an open shot on him, I believe you just grab him around and just throw him down one time instead of putting his shoulder pad dead in his ribs. I'm to that point. I'm sorry. You just got to show me. If you got a blind side shot, you know what I'm saying? If you got a blind side shot, you coming around the edge and he looking the other way, will you plant your helmet in the small of his back? Y'all forgive me. It's the football I grew up on. I'm sorry. Or are you just gonna hug him? See, Sam Williams will hug you and try to suplex you. You see what I'm saying? You see the difference? We saw with Sam. There's Sam picking people up and just throwing them like he Brock Lesnar or somebody. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Michael, I don't know. He gonna get there. He gonna tackle him, but he gonna hit him. See, you done shook hands with CJ Stroud too. They all them sumo wrestlers and laughing and eating sushi and I mean, good God. All right. Everybody hit that like button for me. The reason why I'm coming to you guys tonight, I would not be with you on tomorrow night, at least from this type of way. I will not be with you. I went in just, I'm sorry I didn't do my usual pump up thing, but I appreciate all of you guys hanging with me so far tonight. So, I know it's late. Everybody got to go to bed. I'm going to do this one time because y'all need to go to bed. I don't have to. I'm on vacation. Exactly, JB. Well, they're down there braiding each other hair. You know what I'm talking about? FaceTiming each other and all that time. I'm just... I'm serious, man. I just come for the time, man. Look, Magic Johnson didn't like Larry Bird. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. Larry Bird didn't like Magic Johnson. Now, I don't have to say nothing else to that, because if you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. It just, some things just don't work. And when I said that, you understood the intensity of the rivalry. You understand that they wanted to kill each other. They wanted to beat Magic Johnson, wanted to beat Larry Bird's brains out. Larry Bird wanted to beat Magic Johnson brains out. They didn't have this LeBron James friends with everybody type of mentality. Like Micah Parsons, they ain't got Ray Lewis mentality. You just don't. The Steelers and the Ravens of the early 2000s can meet up in the mall right now and they ain't gonna even speak to each other, man. It still burns. The fire still burns. That's what took all of them to the next level. Look how many Hall of Famers came out of it. From both sides. Look. They brought the best out of each other. I ain't got time for this singing Indian style and singing Kumbaya with the sumo wrestlers. You need to hit CJ Stroud. I'm sorry. Man, the phone line open. I'm tired of talking. See, I'm getting fired up. It's a shame that I'm more fired up than Micah is. I ain't shaking hands with nobody. If I got to play you this season, stop. I ain't swapping. Look, that's another thing. Every time I look up, Micah Parsons got to swap jerseys with everybody. Man, look, go order the jersey. Taking pictures after they done beat your brains out on them film. Man, what in the world is this? What you want to get the jersey? They don't want your jersey. For what? Y'all help me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Call from Coach Marv. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
I feel myself getting a little bit hot now, so I'm gonna get out of the way. Coach Marv in the building. I mean, all this swapping jerseys and shaking hands. What you might well give him your T-shirt. Just take your T-shirt and send it to him. I'm sick of this buddy stuff. Yeah. Hit somebody. Go ahead, Coach.
And and I understand the new age people, but there are some guys that are coming out that are old school, and that they understand that to get where they want to get to, they got to have not only player success, or they got to have team success. I think sometimes that's where our Cowboys and when we talk about culture, like Thomas Simpson talking about culture, I think sometimes that's where we get clouded, because we give the credit and all the accolades, and we saying we're calling him a potentially Hall of Fame guy. And we don't understand he is a long way from being a Hall of Famer right now.
Oh yeah.
And so, but that's the curse and that's the blessing of being a Cowboy. The curse is that when they get here, we push the level of expectations way off the map. And the blessing is you're on a stage where you're going to get a lot of attention. And that's why you have to have someone that's around that's going to curb that attention. This is why I always say being a Cowboy is like raising a kid in the ghetto. You got to be a little more on top of them and a little harder on them because of the amount of distractions that they have. This is not Green Bay. This is not Jacksonville. This is not Atlanta. There is a wall of attention where everything that you do, every good thing that you is going to be scrutinized, is going to be lifted up so big that it's easy for you to get the big head. Everything that you do negative, it's going to be talked about so much, so it's easy for you to get down on yourself. So inside that locker room, inside that field, you have to be that type of parent that is really a-hole. And you don't have to be outside the media, but you have to make that sanctuary inside those practices, in those meeting rooms, in those things that you say about the media, about your team. You have to be that person that they really don't like, but they respect. Yeah. Now, I know it's hard to do that when you don't have the ownership backing on certain things, but you have to do that because you have a lot of distractions. Yeah. And that's where when we were talking about Micah Parsons, that's why I challenge our Cowboy Nation. It's not that we need to belittle Micah Parsons. We're trying to make him the best player that he can be and push him to the next level. Y'all talked about where you would like him to play. Well, Dan Quinn talked about this long time ago when he first had Micah Parsons after his first year. But, you let media get involved. You let the Joneses get involved with this hype about him rushing the passer. But Dan Quinn, if you go back to those press conferences, he said what I thought too. He said, having that type of speed off the ball it is hard to dominate. It's hard to practice for. Yeah. I got a clip that I put out there on Facebook, on Twitter, and I need to go back and repost it. And it was two clips, and it was back early in this season when I said when Michael came into his third year at the beginning of this year in training camp, and he talked about he wanted to be more of an impact player. He said it wasn't about sacks. He wanted to be an impact player. You don't have to have the sack numbers to be an impact player.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he had the right philosophy, but he gets swept into this media frenzy about sack, and then you lose what you would have made you great.
Yeah.
The other thing was in training camp 2 years ago, they was talking to Zach Martin in training camp and during training camp he said Micah Parsons blitzing from the middle linebacker position is almost impossible to stop because a center cannot block Micah Parsons one-on-one.
Yeah.
A guard would have a hard time blocking because of two things. One, he has power. He's coming towards you with speed. They're not used to dealing with that type of speed. And if he gets any room in there, he is going to dominate that. If you look at his stats, 7 or 8 of his sacks came when he blitzed from the middle linebacker position. 9 of his sacks his first year came from blitzing from the middle linebacker position. Yeah. You cannot block him that way. And when he's in the middle of the field, Big Show, when you offensive lineman, and Zach Martin said the same thing, and I know from a coach this is how you have to do it, but Zach Martin said the same thing. You have to count him as a big. So when you count him as a big, you have to count your slide protection where a guard or a center is going to block him. You would never say, running back, get the middle linebacker, because you know that's a loss.
Immediately.
Immediate loss. That is an immediate loss. Your running back going to say, man, what can I do with this guy, 240 pounds, coming at a 4.3, coming and got quick hands, got pass rushing hands. He's going to get it. So that's a loss that's right in the quarterback face. So you have to count him as a big, which that throws your blocking assignment totally off. Mm-hmm. Another thing, by him being in the middle of the field, I don't think people understand this. When he's in the middle of the field, he's going to count for every play that the offense is going to run. He's going to be involved in every offensive play. And the second and the most important thing is, just like in basketball, think about it, Big Show. Football, baseball, all sports are relative, right? Mm-hmm. You let guys in football and basketball, they let guys catch the ball at the top of at the top of the key. They did it with Dirk Nowitzki, Michael Jordan, all of them get the ball at the top. Why? Because you can't double at the top. You can't double in the middle of the floor because it allows your edges to be wide open. So if you bring anybody outside, you double somebody in the middle, you're going to have people running free. Same way in football. You cannot double him. He will have a less of a physical battle where he would last longer playing more linebacker and defensive end on third down. He will last longer, not because of the run thing. He will last longer because he'll be facing less double team and he will have more free ability to roam, get in passing lanes, run people down. Again, what makes him generational? Everybody wants to say he's generational. I said he's generational. But those stats I posted on your show, that would make him generational. That would make him better than Lawrence Taylor. Now, he's Lawrence Taylor, but Lawrence Taylor could not do those numbers. Those numbers are not going to come from outside linebacker. No. He is a linebacker. We got to remember, he was drafted as a mental linebacker. His greatest asset coming out of college was he was a great run stopper. He had multiple tackles for loss in the run game. Then he had pass rushing ability. Yep. But him being a middle linebacker and then have pass rushing ability, that's what makes him generational. Him rushing a pass don't make him no generational. I don't see plenty of people that can rush the passer better than Micah Parsons. Matter of fact, there's about 5 or 6 more defensive ends in the NFL that have shown that they can rush the passer better than Micah Parsons. So, again, but what makes him generational is that he can play linebacker. If he doesn't get sacks from the middle of the field in his rookie year, from the linebacker position, rushing from the middle linebacker position, he won't have no about 7 or 8 sacks from defensive end. He's a talent at defensive end.
Yeah.
But he can be more of a game changer in the middle of the field. But goes back to my last point. But this all goes back to what common sense was saying. And the same thing that I was saying when I made that said 117 tackles, 130 tackles, 17 sacks, 3 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles. If he is committed to being that type of guy, that's going to take a big commitment on his part. That's not going to be no podcast. You can't go in there not being in shape. You can't go in there being in defensive end shape. You got to go in this year in what we call universal shape. You got to go in there shape that you can play linebacker all day and defensive end all day. You can't go in there as a linebacker shape. You can't go in there defensive end shape. You can't go on film and we just see you doing linebacker drills, outside linebacker drills. You got to be in training camp. You got to be in mini camp so you can be the better linebacker, so you can pick up on all the things and all the reads you need to be the best middle linebacker. So all these things, if he wants to do it, and the same thing that Nate Luke said the other day, Micah could give you tackles for loss. He could give you interception. He could give you sacks. He could give you everything to be a game changer. But the key to what he said, and I need to send that thing to you, Big Show. He said, if Micah wants to give it to us. And that's going to be the key.
That's a big
is
one.
Micah wants to give it to us, because if he thinks he's going to make money, this is pass rush, and I know you're going to have people to comment about, well, that's where the big money at. But there's a very few guys in defense end getting paid that type of money. But if he puts up the stats at middle linebacker and some defense end that I put on that thing, there is no range of how they pay that type of player.
Yep.
Because that's something that has never been done before. And they would not be saying, they wouldn't be saying, well, he's the next Lawrence Taylor. They'll be calling people, who is the next Micah Parsons?
Yep.
And this is what the young cat got to understand. Do you want to be good, or do you want to be great? But his greatness is only going to come, Big Show, about his play on the field and the team success. That's the main thing. And right now, instead of him thinking about his brand and about his next move, he needs to leave that to people like LeBron James that's already into their career, think about their next move. Yeah. He needs to think about football first and letting the main thing be the main thing, and all the rest of it will come. But think about subscribers and who's on your show and trying to get ratings and this move and that move. If football ain't first, the rest of that stuff will crumble.
Got that right. Appreciate you, Coach Marv.
Football got to be first. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. That's awesome.
All right, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's late. I got 10:30 Memphis time, so if you're Eastern time, it's already 11. Y'all know good and well y'all got to be at work in the morning. So we're going to go ahead and end it on that note. Shut off the line. Be fair to you guys. I appreciate all you guys hanging with me tonight. Hopefully we gained a little bit more insight, I guess. At least from a different perspective of what we feel. Remember, we're not knocking Michael on his ability. The ability is there. It's no question about that. We just want the mentality to match the ability, and that will go to another level. And hopefully we get hopefully Zimmer will incorporate what Dan Quinn didn't do. Dan Quinn talked about it, he just never did it. And that is moving Michael everywhere. Hopefully this is what can happen with Zimmer being there. Hopefully. Will it happen? We don't know. But this guy has a chance. This guy has a chance. Like I said, it's rare. It's rare But this guy, let me put it this way. In 1981, Lawrence Taylor was the MVP of the entire National Football League. Lawrence Taylor was the MVP of the whole, over a quarterback, over running back. Lawrence Taylor was the MVP of the NFL. Now, that ain't gonna happen. Now, I mean, it's just too much offensive, stats and all that. It's not gonna happen. But I will say this. If you're a dominant guy like that, you might pick up an MVP vote. You'll never be the MVP. That's why they came up with the Defensive Player of the Year, so they can go ahead and give the defensive player the just due of a great season. That's why they separated. Lawrence Taylor was the MVP of the whole league. Now we talking about the time when Joe Montana was playing. We talking about the time when Dorsett was still playing. All the great players back then. This dude was the MVP of the league. Micah Parsons has that type of disability that he can at least get a vote or two for being the MVP of the league, which means he can dominate a game, man, from the position that he in. He can dominate a game. But it got to be something. It got to happen in the coaching room, but most of all, from what like Coach Marv said, what Common Sense said, it got to be up here, and he can take care of it. All right. Appreciate y'all hanging with me tonight. Like I said, I will not be with you guys on tomorrow, so this kind of substituted for the show. I might even replay this tomorrow, so y'all might understand it may not excite y'all because y'all already heard this before, but I might schedule this same show for tomorrow for those that didn't hear it tonight. So come on back if you want to. You can add since y'all heard it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know where I'm gonna be going because I might just replay this show. So come in and argue with some more of them. Y'all know what I'm going. Y'all already know what the show is. You already know what is going to be said. So you guys come on back. Come hang with your boy. All right. Thank y'all for hanging with me, man. This nightlife thing. All right. Appreciate y'all hanging with me, man. Listen, I will be with you guys definitely this Saturday, without a doubt, at 3:00. 3:00 Saturday, 3:00 Central. I will be with you guys definitely for that for sure. Tomorrow, I'll go ahead and replay this show again for tomorrow evening. Okay? So you guys come on, hang with me. Appreciate all you do. Thanks for giving me your little time tonight, all right? Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. Go ahead and give me the hand clap emojis. We're going to go and jam our way out of here. We might as well do it. Hit that like button as you leave. Hit that like button. Give me about 10 likes, okay? Everybody do that for me. Thank you again. This has been as I Ric Flair my way out of here. Y'all know what that means, right? I Ric Flair or the Undertaker. I'm out of here, y'all. Thanks for hanging with me. This has been the one and only as I float through the smoke. Yeah, the big time show.